It was 2 in the morning when I found myself doing it again. Sitting alone in my apartment, scrolling through my ex-wife's Instagram, watching her post quotes about new beginnings and living her best life. And I was torturing myself, thinking she was out there thriving while I was drowning. You will not believe what I discovered about what is actually happening behind those filtered photos. But before we continue, if you are a man over 45 going through divorce or trying to understand what went wrong, hit that subscribe button. This channel is built for you. Now let me tell you how everything I believed got shattered. My name is Victor, 53 years old, divorced 8 months ago after 19 years of marriage. My ex-wife Linda left me for what she called a chance to finally be herself. She said she needed space to grow. She said she had been unhappy for years. She said I was holding her back. And for the first 6 months after she left, I believed her. I believed she was happier without me. I believed I had somehow failed her. I believed everything her Instagram was showing me. The yoga retreats, the girls' nights out, the new haircut and the new clothes, the inspirational quotes about becoming the woman she was always meant to be. Every post felt like a knife in my chest. Then I met a man named Marcus at a support group for divorced men. He was a psychologist who had worked with hundreds of couples going through separation. And what he told me over coffee one night completely rewired how I understood my divorce. He said, "Victor, let me ask you something. Right now, at this very moment, how many men do you think are doing exactly what you were doing? Sitting alone, scrolling through their ex's social media, watching her post about living her best life." I said, "I had no idea." He said, "Millions. Literally millions of men are torturing themselves right now, thinking their ex-wife is thriving while they are falling apart. But here is what none of them understand. They are watching a performance, not reality." I asked him what he meant. He said, "When a woman leaves a marriage, especially one that lasted years, she is not just leaving you. She is leaving an entire psychological ecosystem that she does not even realize exists. For however long you were together, you were her reference point for everything. Every decision, every emotion, every plan for the future had you somewhere in the equation. Even when she was complaining about you to her friends, you were still the center of her psychological universe. And now, she is floating in space without gravity, trying to convince herself that weightlessness is freedom." I told him that didn't match what I was seeing. Linda looked happier than ever. Marcus smiled and said, "Let me walk you through what actually happens. And the pattern is so predictable, it is almost mathematical." He called it the 3 phases. Phase 1, he said, is the honeymoon with herself. This lasts anywhere from 2 weeks to 3 months. She is high on her own decision. Every morning she wakes up and mentally congratulates herself for being so brave, so strong, so independent. She redecorates the house. She starts that yoga class she always talked about. Maybe she downloads a dating app just to see what is out there. Her friends are feeding her validation like it is a drug. You look amazing. You are glowing. You deserve so much better. And she believes it. God, does she believe it? Marcus paused and looked at me. He said, "During this phase, she is not actually living in reality. She is living in a story she is telling herself about reality. The story where she is the heroine who escaped from mediocrity, where endless possibilities are waiting just around the corner. Her phone is buzzing with matches and messages. Men are giving her attention she has not felt in years. She interprets this as evidence that she made the right choice. What she does not realize is that she is mistaking quantity for quality, attention for intention, and novelty for value." I asked him what comes next. He said, "Phase 2, the awakening. Though it is more like a slow-motion car crash, it starts with small things. She goes on her first real date since the divorce. The guy seems perfect on paper, good-looking, successful, says all the right things. They have dinner, maybe drinks. Everything seems to be going well. Then at the end of the night, he makes his move. And suddenly she realizes something that hits her like a bucket of ice water." Marcus leaned forward. He said, "This man does not actually care about her. Not really. He does not know that she is scared of thunderstorms, or that she cannot sleep without checking the door is locked 3 times, or that she cries during that one commercial with the dogs. To him, she is just Friday night." That phrase hit me hard. "Friday night," Marcus continued. He said, "That is when the first crack appears in her narrative, but she pushes through, because admitting doubt now would mean admitting she might have made a mistake, and that is psychologically unbearable. So she doubles down, more dates, more nights out with the girls. Except now something is different. The attention does not feel quite as intoxicating. The compliments feel hollow. She starts noticing things, how these men talk about their ex-wives, how they interact with waiters, how quickly they try to escalate things physically. And slowly, without even realizing it, she starts comparing them to you. I said, "To me." He nodded. He said, "Not consciously. Consciously, she is still maintaining the story that you were the problem, but subconsciously her brain is doing what brains do. It is pattern matching. It is comparing and contrasting. That guy who seems so charming, he talks over her constantly. The one with the great job, he is emotionally unavailable. The fun, spontaneous one, he is actually just irresponsible and drinks too much. And with each comparison, you start looking better in hindsight, not because you were perfect, but because you were known, you were safe, you were home." I sat there in silence. Marcus said, "This is when phase 3 kicks in, the panic. It is usually around the 6 to 8 month mark. The novelty is completely worn off. Her friends are tired of hearing about her dating adventures. Her kids, if you have them, are acting out because their world has been shattered and she has been too busy finding herself to notice. She is exhausted from keeping up the performance of being happy." Because that is what it is now. A performance. Every living my best life post takes more effort. Every smile in public feels heavier. She is an actress who has forgotten why she took the role. He paused. He said, "This is when they start rewriting history. The marriage that was so terrible, maybe it was not that bad. You, the person she could not stand to be around, maybe she was too harsh. The future she was so sure about, maybe she miscalculated. But here's the thing, she cannot just admit she made a mistake. That would destroy her entire sense of self. She spent months building an identity around being the woman who was brave enough to leave. Her entire social narrative is constructed on this foundation, so instead, she creates a new story. One where maybe you have changed, maybe you have grown, maybe if things were different now, it could work. This allows her to entertain the idea of reconciliation without admitting she was wrong." I asked Marcus what happens after that. He said, "Around the 2-year mark, sometimes sooner, sometimes later, she faces a choice. She can either admit the truth and try to make amends, possibly attempting reconciliation, or she can double down on the lie and reshape her entire personality around it. Most choose the second option. It is easier. They become bitter, cynical. They join online groups that reinforce their choices. They become the women who tell other unhappy wives to leave, not because it is right, but because misery loves company, and they need others to validate their choice." Marcus looked at me directly. He said, "But through all of this, Victor, you need to understand something important. You are the ghost that haunts everything, not because you are doing anything, but because you are the standard. Whether she admits it or not, every man gets compared to you, not the you she divorced, but the idealized version of you that her regret has created. The you that exists in her memory is better than you ever were in reality, and no one can compete with a ghost that she has perfected in hindsight." I didn't know what to say. For months, I'd been torturing myself thinking Linda had won, that she had escaped to a better life while I was left behind picking up pieces. But Marcus was showing me a completely different picture. He said, "Here's what I want you to understand. When she is married for years, her identity is not just her anymore. It is her as part of us. Every decision she made, from what to cook for dinner to where to vacation, was filtered through the lens of being a wife. Her neural pathways literally formed around this identity. When she leaves, she is not just losing you, she is losing who she was with you. And that creates an identity crisis that runs deeper than most people can imagine." He continued. He said, "Think about the small things she never had to think about before. Which side of the bed to sleep on when the whole bed is empty? What to watch on TV when there is no one to compromise with? Where to eat when every restaurant reminds her she is eating alone? These seem trivial, but they are death by 1,000 cuts every single day." I left that conversation feeling something I had not felt in months. Not happiness exactly, but clarity. I stopped scrolling through Linda's Instagram that night, not because I stopped caring, but because I finally understood what I was looking at. A performance. A story she was telling herself and the world because the alternative was too painful to face. Here is what I want you to take from this. If you are sitting in your apartment right now, 3 in the morning, scrolling through your ex's social media and feeling like she won while you lost, stop. What you are seeing is not reality. It is a carefully curated highlight reel designed to convince everyone, including herself, that she made the right choice. Behind those filtered photos is a woman walking through a psychological minefield, trading certainty for illusion, watching that illusion crumble piece by piece. You were not just her husband, you were her reference point for reality, her anchor, her home. And no amount of yoga retreats or dating app matches or inspirational quotes can replace what she walked away from. She may never admit it. She may double down on the story for the rest of her life. But deep down in the quiet moments when she is alone with her thoughts, she knows. The grass was not greener. It was just different grass. And different is not the same as better. So stop torturing yourself. Stop comparing your behind the scenes to her highlight reel. Stop thinking you lost while she won. The truth is, there are no winners in divorce, only different kinds of losses. And sometimes the person who looks like they are thriving is actually the one falling apart. They are just better at hiding it. Focus on yourself now, on your healing, on becoming the man you want to be, not because she might come back, but because you deserve a life that is not defined by her absence. That is the reality nobody talks about. And now you know. If this opened your eyes, drop a comment below. Tell me where you are in this journey, and share this with a man who needs to hear it tonight. Sometimes the truth is the best medicine, even when it is hard to swallow. Take care of yourself. I will see you in the next one.